even at TRT levels, oxygen carrying capacity is increased, motor unit recruitment is increased, your ability to recover. And as well, if you have like a hard training session or even are overtraining, the average guy is going to have their testosterone nuked into the ground. You're going to be walking around like borderline hypogonadal with that much intensive training in an MMA capacity. Whereas a guy on TRT, you could literally go drink, eat like train however you want.
Exactly.
And your level is manually maintained and stable.
Let's talk about a case that we know it's a matter of fact. It's not a matter of speculation. Like if we look at Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson, early on in his career, he was known as Decision Dan.
Yeah.
Why? Dan Henderson, one of the greatest fighters to ever do it, he would always go to decision. Always. Then he gets TRT exemption. He gets on TRT. His physique doesn't change much. Not a huge change in physique. He was always very muscular. He comes from a wrestling background. But all of a sudden now we're calling him, his new nickname is the H-bomb. He's knocking guys out silly with the right hand, like out. He always had a good right hand. When he fought Vanderlei Silva, he rocked Vanderlei Silva with the right hand, but he didn't put him out.
Yeah.
And he never had a good left hand at all. And if you saw him hitting boxing mitts, he didn't look smooth at all. He was kind of more of a tough wrestler. Fast forward, he gets a TRT exemption. Of course, they're not going to stay at 6-1. You only have to test 6-1 on the week of the fight.
Yeah.
You could be 20-1 through training camp. You know, of course, you could train harder. You take more bone mass, musculature increases. You could train longer hours. You could put yourself through more strenuous training and recover. So this guy now, all of a sudden, he's the H-bomb. Not only does he have an explosive right hand that could knock you out silly. I don't know if you saw the Bisping knockout. He knocked out.
Oh yeah, that was intense.
Very badly.
Yeah.
Now he knocked out Vanderlei Silva in the rematch because the first time he fought Vanderlei Silva, he got a complete beating. You know, he had a few moments, but he got beat bad. On the rematch, he kills Vanderlei Silva with a left hook. Now he's never hurt anybody with his left hook ever. All of a sudden, he's got two H-bombs. He's got two powerful one touch, one kill type shots.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? His punching mechanics, and believe me, I'm an expert in body mechanics when it comes to martial arts. Like that's what I do for a living. Okay.
Yeah.
Fighting is what I do for a living. His mechanics are not any better. Where did this power come from? Where did this surge of extreme power? Hormones make a difference. Look at the current weightlifting champion in women's division. The guy couldn't place even in the men's. He wouldn't be in the top 100 in the men. And now all of a sudden he gets a sex change and he's the best in women's. Like, is that insane? Why do you think it is? Because he improved his technique on his clean and jerk? No, it's because he's been a man his entire life.
Yeah.
He's been,
that True Geordie guy, like in his kind of comparison of GSP and Jake Paul and him saying, oh, GSP's jacked, Jake Paul's not. His physique is not, reflective of a guy in PDs. I don't think a lot of people, even at TRT levels, like forget the fact that Jake could take whatever the fuck he wants because he's not being tested at all. But even at TRT levels, oxygen carrying capacity is increased, motor unit recruitment is increased, your ability to recover. And as well, if you have like a hard training session or even are overtraining, the average guy is going to have their testosterone nuked into the ground. You're going to be walking around like borderline hypogonadal with that much intensive training in an MMA capacity. Whereas a guy on TRT, you could literally go drink, eat like shit, train however you want. And your level is manually maintained and stable. It does not dip up and down. Even a natural peak hormone production, if they weren't training at all and subjecting themselves to this very strenuous activity, they would at best for maybe like a handful of hours of the day, maybe have like an 800 nanogram per deciliter total, and then it'll dip down in like a diurnal rhythm. Whereas a guy on TRT, you're manually maintaining it stably at like 1,000 and never having to deal with any dips whatsoever, regardless of what you're subjecting yourself to. So above and beyond the fact that on paper, your levels look natural, the performance enhancing advantage of TRT is fucking massive.
Exactly. Here's what you should never forget. It's stress plus recovery equals adaptation. You have to have stress. You trained, you stressed your body, you recover, and then you have an adaptation. You're a little bit better than before. That adaptation period is a rest. I have to push pause.
Yeah.
Not so if I take synthetic steroids, not as much. Why? Because I depleted my testosterone. I depleted my hormones when I stressed my body.
Yeah.
Now I have to eat, sleep, rest, let them come back up to what they used to be. And now I have super compensation.
Yeah.
I'm better than I was before. But that cycle takes time, and you got to repeat it over years.
If you
However,
look
if
in
you're taking
studies
synthetic
of natural bodybuilders who cut for competitions, and we all know how aggressively guys in the UFC weight cut, the amount of hormone diminishment you get from weight cutting, it can take months to get that back up to baseline. It's not like you have a good night of sleep and you're back up to baseline. Like you're fucked for that entire weight cut. You're at like very suboptimal levels versus the guy on TRT peaked the entire time.
Exactly. You know, the strongest gym in the world is Westside Barbell.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, you gotta max out every week.
Yeah.
Now we have control studies where if you max out week 1, week 2 you're a little bit stronger. What max out means, you bench your maximum weight. Okay?
Yeah.
Week 2 you're a little bit stronger. Week 3 you max out again. Week 2 you're a little bit stronger. Week 3 you're a little bit stronger than week 2. Week 4 you're weaker than week 1. Why? They call it CNS overload. Your body has to go through a resting period. You cannot max out more than 3 weeks in a row. So some people, you know, they have a 3-week program. The 4th week is a Terry week, and then the week 5, you start again a new cycle. Okay, makes sense. He says you got to max out every week. How does that work? Well, they're on PEDs.
Hell of shit. Yeah.
He wrote an article. What's the best way to recover from your workout? Number 1, PEDs. He's open about it. He's open about it.
Yeah.
How are you going to max out every week if you're not on PEDs? That's what people need to understand. I can get to where I need to be a lot faster.
Yeah.
If I can inject testosterone in my system.
Yeah.
Why? Because it would be counterproductive for me to keep working when my testosterone is depleted. Now I go in a catabolic state and eat up the muscle that I've been trying to build. I need that muscle to do these movements. I'm shooting myself in the foot. That's why I'm saying, when you show me a Tyrone Woodley, you need to show me also he was training since he's very young, or he was that athletically gifted when he was very young, and he has those receipts. That's why, you know, Tyrone Woodley didn't get where he is overnight. He didn't. I'm sorry. He's got the receipts. Now, I've seen guys get really good in 5 years, let's say, get their black belt in 5 years, whatnot. It's nowadays it's generally because of PEDs. There was a time where jiu-jitsu was so unknown. It was such a underground martial art that in 5 years you were comparative to the rest of the jiu-jitsu world a black belt, because it goes by comparison. Like if you could beat a brown belt, you're higher level. Okay, we give you a black belt. So that's part of the equation of how we give you a belt. Today, if you're going to get a black belt in 5 years, man, it's almost impossible. Why? The information is out there. So everybody's doing jiu-jitsu. And the guys who get their black belt in 5 years are usually on a lot of gear. Like I haven't seen a single case in the last 10 years. The guy's not on a lot of gear, because your body can't take that much training without breaking down.
Yeah. Competitively in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it seems to be one of the most drug-ridden
sports.
God.
Oh my God. It's worse than MMA.
Oh,
it's worse than MMA.